Namaste, welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra and I'll be taking you through a sacral chakra yoga practice. So the sacral chakra or Svadhisthana chakra is thought to be located around the womb area, so in between pubic bone and belly button. So the entire area of the hips, of the pelvis, pelvic bowl is really what we're going to be working on in this practice. So a lot of sacral chakra yoga practices, including mine that I've done in the past, have really focused on stretching the area of the hips and increasing flexibility as a way to release stagnant energy. And while we will be doing this in this practice as well, I also want us to focus on strengthening this area at the same time. So strengthening the area of the hips as well as stretching. So there's a lot to be said energetically when it comes to maintaining healthy boundaries, to improving the physical integrity of this area. And this can also be a great way that we strengthen the container for this sacral chakra. So if you want to work with visualization, this chakra is all about sensuality, sexuality, and creativity. And it's associated with the color orange. So as we flow and as we move in and out of our poses, you might, close your eyes every now and then and visualize this glowing orange jewel, really radiating energy all throughout the pelvic bowl, all throughout your hips. So really working on the integrity, the container, and the boundaries of this space, while also working on releasing, opening, and allowing for a healthy flow of energy. So it's all about the yin and the yang, really keeping everything together so that we're not going overactive or underactive in any of these energetic centers. Okay, I have talked enough for now. We are going to begin lying down. You do need one block for this practice. And normally I like to say that you can use a pillow if you don't have a block, but truthfully, I think a block is your best option. And we're going to begin in a pose that I've been doing quite a bit, which is an elevated reclined butterfly. So Badakanasana, or bound angle with the legs, but with a block underneath the hips. And this block can be on the first or the second level. This is just a different way of opening through the inner thighs and inner groin. And I'm going to use this Yoni Mudra with my hands. So just this is just one of the variations of Yoni Mudra. So index fingers and thumbs together, making this little triangle shape and placing this directly on the area of our low belly, making this first connection with the Svadhisthana chakra. Relax your shoulders down and away from your ears. So this is about emotional attunement, all about cultivating our sense of feeling, allowing ourselves to create while also setting healthy boundaries, really honoring the whole of ourselves. So take about 3 more deep breaths all the way down deep into your belly, into your low back, into your hips. An affirmation I really like for this particular chakra is, my creative potential is endless. To me, this really is the meaning of this energetic center. My creative potential is endless. And you can bring your knees back up. Keep your block on its lowest level and go ahead and straighten both legs. Reach your arms up overhead, big stretch here. And we'll just draw the right knee in towards the belly. Keep your left leg out in front of you. So supported bridge, knee to chest. Targeting now a gentle release through the front of our left thigh, front of the hip. One more big breath. And we'll switch sides. Extend your right leg out. And draw your left knee and left thigh in. And you can ask yourself whether this energetic center tends to be underactive or overactive. Do you need more liberation when it comes to sensuality and creativity and feelings? Or do you need maybe a little bit more of a container? A little bit more structure and safety? And we'll bend into both knees so the feet can be flat to the floor, and just grab a hold of your block and place it in between the upper inner thighs. Really squeezing and strengthening here, engaging through your adductors, the muscles along the inside edges of your thighs. And with your feet flat to the floor, shrug your shoulders down and away from your ears. Squeeze your block as much as you can as you lift your hips up into your bridge pose. Squeeze into your glutes. Hug in through that block even more. Really as strongly as you can here. This is excellent for your knees as well. Start to feel some fire burning, some heat building in your lower body. Keep squeezing your block even more than you think you can. One more big breath. And very slowly releasing down. Just place your block over to the side here, and you can draw your knees in towards your chest. I'm just going to bring my hands on my knees, and I'm doing this little pumping motion. As I inhale, my knees go away from me. As I exhale, I draw them in closer. 2 more. And widen your knees, maybe coming into your happy baby pose. And let's release the hold of the feet. And we're going to come to our tabletop stance. So you can rock up. And just bring your block and place it somewhere to the top of the mat in case we need it later. So tabletop, palms are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. And we're going to take cat and cow. As you inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze. Exhale, round and contract. And really emphasize this movement in your low back, through your pelvis, through your hips. So feeling that rocking motion. Anterior and then posterior tilts. Last one. Coming back to neutral, big circles with your hips over to the right like you're stirring the pots. Notice if there's any resistance here, anything that feels stuck or stagnant. Take one more. And let's reverse in the other direction. So over to the left. And finding our neutral pose once more in this tabletop. So working on strengthening through our outer hip a little bit. Make sure that your shoulders are directly over your hands. Draw your lower belly in so your core is slightly engaged. And as you inhale, you're going to float your right leg up. Try to keep your knee at around the same level as your hip with your knee bent. And then exhale just to lower it back down. We'll do 3 more like this. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale to lower. Keep both elbows straight. Inhale. And exhale. Last one, inhale. You're going to hold it here. Go ahead and straighten that right leg. You're gonna feel it burn. And go ahead and drop your right foot down to the floor. Thread the needle, left arm reaches underneath you, shoulder and ear lower down to the floor. I like to bring my right arm up overhead. You can place it wherever is comfortable to you. So twisting here, see if you can push into your little right toe so that your foot is flat to the floor. Soften your shoulders and your neck. My creative potential is endless. Slide your right hand back, come back up, and this time just lift up so you can bring your hands on your hips, keep your legs as they are, gate pose, into your side bend, left arm reaches all the way up and over. Reaching out through those fingertips. Inhale to lift back up. Let's bring our hands back in front of us, reach and kick that right heel straight up towards the sky. As you exhale, bring your knee to your nose, round and contract. Inhale, back bend as you kick through the heel. Exhale, squeeze it in. Last one, inhale. And exhale, and go ahead and step that right foot through in between your palms to the top of the mat. Tuck your back toes under and lift that back knee off the floor. And you might sway a little bit back and forth, inviting the hips to be heavy. Shrug your shoulders down and away from your ears. And you can start straightening any amount through your front leg, pushing into the back heel and folding down, just holding here. So if the floor is too far away, this is why we have our block somewhere close to the top of the mat. You can always use it here. Try to relax your lower belly. And we'll bend into that front knee, back into our tabletop pose on hands and knees. And we'll go do that little fire hydrant sequence on the second side. So shoulders over your hands, hips over your knees, belly is engaged. Inhale, squeeze to lift that left thigh up. The knee is just as high as your hip. Exhale to lower it down. 3 more like this. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift. And lower. Last one, inhale. Hold it here. Go ahead and straighten out that left leg. Keep the belly in. And set that left foot down. Thread the needle, right arm underneath you, shoulder and ear to the floor. And choose where you'd like to place your left hand and your arm. So trying to keep our left foot, our knee, and our hip in the same line. Really push into the sole of your foot. You might feel a stretch in the outer ankle. And let's start to lift back out, coming up into our gate pose. Right arm up and over into your side body stretch. Lifting back out, tabletop, and you're gonna kick your left heel up to the sky, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, round and contract. Tap your knee to your nose. 2 more, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift. And contract, step it forward. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee off the mat, runner's lunge. Maybe a light rocking back and forth. Letting your hips be heavy, let gravity do the work here. Getting a little more into the hamstrings, straighten that front left leg any amount, maybe grabbing your block and folding down. Try to minimize the tension in your neck and in your shoulders. And instead of going to our tabletop pose, this time we're going to find downward facing dog, our first one. So anchor the hands to the mat and step your left foot back to meet the right one. Feet are hip width distance apart. Bend your knees any amount. Think of reaching your chest towards your thighs. And see if you can curl your tailbone up towards the sky. Drawing your lower belly in, this area of the Sacral Chakra. Glowing bright orange. Let's walk the feet forward to the top of our mat. Hanging out here in your Ragdoll Fold. Just giving yourself the opportunity to stretch into your hamstrings. Maybe swaying a little bit. Decompressing through your spine. And we'll come up with our block. So grab a hold of it, bend your knees, press into your heels as you come all the way up. And we'll do mountain pose, Tadasana, but with the help of our block. So place it up in between the upper inner thighs. Your feet will be about hip width distance apart. And really squeeze your block as much as you possibly can. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears, palms shining forward. So activating through the inner thighs, through our adductors. Take a deep breath into the low belly, anchoring down. My creative potential is endless. Let's bring our hands at the front of the heart. Keep squeezing your block as you lower down, Utkatasana, chair pose. Drawing through that low belly. Most of your body weight is back into your heels. Sink it down a little lower. Keep squeezing your block. And with that same squeeze, come all the way back up to Tadasana. Grab a hold of your block in your hands, lean on your right leg, and lift that left knee up as high as it can go. And there's no real right or wrong way to do this one, but you're just going to trace as big circles as you can with your left knee. So lubricating through that left hip joint and working on our stability through that standing pose. The right hip is working quite hard to keep us there. Left hip is opening up, and just reverse the direction of those circles. You can push a little bit into your block. Sometimes that helps us stay a little bit more stable. And with that knee up as delicately as you can, step back to your warrior two. Keep your block in hand. So back foot parallel to the shorter edge of your mat. Bending into your front knee, extended side angle. Drop your block to the inside of your right thigh and right foot. Left arm stretches up and over. See if you can roll that left hip back, left shoulder back. Looking down towards the floor. Bring your left hand down. You can move your block out in front of you. Back knee comes down to the floor, and step your right foot all the way back to the back of the mat. Modified side plank. Right arm extends up. From here, see if you can squeeze, again, working on strengthening our outer right hip. Maybe you stay here. If you'd like, you can add a bind by bending into your right knee, holding onto your right foot, and lightly kicking the foot into the palm. So try to keep your heel and your knee at the same height. So we don't want it to go like this. Really drop the foot down. Look down to help with balance. We'll come into our low lunge. Step the right foot to the top of the mat. And maybe you'll choose to stay here on Anjaneyasana, or if you'd like, you can add a quad stretch, bending into your back knee and reaching back. One more big breath here. Carefully letting go. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. You're welcome to stay here, or you can take a vinyasa, inhaling through plank. Exhale, chaturanga, cobra or upward facing dog. We all meet downward facing dog. And let's walk our feet forward to the top of the mat. Grab a hold of your block, bend your knees, and roll all the way up, inch by inch. Tadasana with our block, same thing, we're just repeating on the other side. So really feel that squeeze through your inner thighs. Shining the palms forward. Connecting to your creative, feeling, intuitive center. Let's bring our hands at the heart. Keep the squeeze as you lower down, chair pose, Utkatasana. Even hugging in through the inner ankles. Keep that squeeze. As you come back up, grab a hold of your block. You're gonna lean on your left leg this time, draw that right knee up, and you're gonna find those same circles. So big circles with that right knee. Try not to move too much through your left hip and left leg, keeping that really lifted and stable. So sacral chakra is all about that opposite of stability and fluidity. And go ahead and repeat on the other side. So reversing the direction of those circles. Right hip is fluid, left hip is stable. Bring the block in your left hand, warrior two. Step your right foot as far back as you can, arms reaching out. So really sink down here, feel that left knee press open, transitioning into your extended side angle. Rolling your right shoulder back, bring the bicep along your ear, sinking down into your hips. Looking down to the mat, right hand down, put the block out in front of you. We're coming to our modified side plank. So right knee comes to the floor, step the left foot back, roll to the inner edge of your left foot. Left arm up, and then maybe you also float that left leg up. Stabilizing and strengthening through your outer hip. You might hold as you are or add your bind, bending into your left knee. Hold onto that foot and kick it lightly into the palm. So there's a little bit of a back bend here, but see if you can focus most of the stretch into the front of your left hip. Looking to the floor, Anjaneyasana, low lunge, left foot forward. Maybe stay as you are or add your quad stretch, reaching back. And we'll release, downward facing dog. Staying here or moving through your vinyasa. Inhale, plank, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward dog. So make sure you still have your block somewhere close at the top of the mat for this next little flow. We're gonna reach our right leg up to the sky, bend your knee, open up your hip. And now, very similar to what we've been doing, you're gonna find those same knee circles, as wide as you can get them. So even though you're tracing these circles with your knee, it's really the hip that we're trying to target. Keeping the elbows straight. Last one here. And we'll step forward for warrior two. Right foot in between the palms, back heel parallel to the shoulder edge of your mat. Palms facing down to the floor. Let's reverse, left hand down, right arm reaches up and over, big side body stretch. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Straighten that front leg and reach that arm forward and down. You're welcome to grab a hold of your block here, or you can hold onto your shin. Roll your left shoulder back. Now let's transition from here into our half moon pose, which is where you might want to have your block. Arda Chandrasana. Hand either goes to the floor, to the block about a foot in front of you. Stacking left shoulder over the right one, left hip over the right one. This is your first option. You can again add a bind for your sugar cane variation. Grabbing a hold of your foot and kicking the foot into the palm. So stretch and stability. So flowing energy as well as a container. And look down to the mat, release into your Ragdoll Fold. You can move your block further out if you'd like. Hold onto your elbows and sway a little side to side. Let's inhale to our halfway lift, flat back, really lengthen out of your waist. Exhale, plant the palms. You can take a vinyasa or you can simply go to downward dog. I'm gonna skip my vinyasa for this one, focusing less on my upper body and more on the low body. That's totally up to you. We all meet back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Ready for a three-legged dog on the second side. Left leg rises. Bend your left knee and open up that hip. Really squeezing it here and finding your knee circles, which are really just hip circles. Try not to bend your right elbow as you do this. I know it's challenging. And we'll find warrior two. Left foot forward, back heel down, lifting up. Shoulders over your hips. And we'll reverse, right hand down, left arm up. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Roll that right shoulder back, getting ready for Arda Chandrasana, or half moon pose. So you'll need to bring your left hand out in front of you, either on a block or on the mat. Reaching right leg and right arm up, stacking one hip over the other as much as you can. And maybe you stay as you are, or you find that sugar cane variation. One of my favorite poses. Try not to put too much of your body weight in your left hand. And looking to the floor, release, Ragdoll Fold, let your knees bend, and you can move your block to the side here, won't need it. Halfway lift, flat back. And fold. Your last opportunity for a vinyasa here, or simply stepping it back. Down dog, where we will all meet. Reaching through your heels, lifting up through your seat. Into your wide-legged child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart, and let your body fold down. Taking a good 5 deep breaths here. Feeling into what's been activated through your hips, through your lower body. Notice if there's any part of you still using muscular effort. Try to relax. A few more breaths here. And go ahead and slide onto your left side on the mat. You can bend into your knees. I like to lower down and just kind of bring my hand underneath my head. So you want your knees and your toes together. Right hip is stacked over the left one. And you're just gonna inhale to squeeze as you lift that right knee up and lower it down. And we're doing 10 of these. So 9, 8, keep going. Feel the glutes and your outer hip really engaged to lift it up. Not rushing through this motion, but doing so mindfully. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and lower that right knee and now extend that leg all the way straight. You're going to lift the toes up and drop them down just to hover about a few inches off the floor for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You might feel it burning. We're not done. Flex your foot and make tiny little circles. And so really working on stabilizing that outer hip. Totally normal to feel it burn. Reverse the direction of your circles. We're almost there. And go ahead and bend into that knee. We're going to roll onto our backs. Reclined pigeon pose. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee. Should feel really good after that strengthening. And you might reach through with your arms to pull that knee and thigh in towards you. Let your head be heavy, your shoulders relaxed. Three more breaths here. And now keep that figure 4 shape. Just let your left foot come back to the floor. Taking our IT band stretch, drop your left thigh down and your right foot is either going to come all the way down to the floor. If it doesn't make it, put your block underneath your right foot. You can reach your right arm out to the side so your shoulder stays anchored to the floor. Should feel this really deeply right in your outer hip. I like to use my left hand to push into my thigh so that my right knee stays facing up. So focusing on both building up our energetic container as well as energetic release. Finding a healthy balance for sexual expression, the expression of our feelings and emotions, and the expression of our creative potential. And come all the way back through to center. Just release your legs here, give it a big squeeze. And you guys can just roll over onto your right side. I'm just gonna switch over so that I'm still facing towards you, but we'll go repeat that same thing. So those little clamshells, you can support your head here. Make sure throughout this entire thing, especially when we're lifting that leg up, we wanna keep everything in line with our hip. So toes and knees together, and you're gonna squeeze to lift that knee up as high as it can go. Exhale to lower it down. For 9, 8, really isolating that hip. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering down, go ahead and straighten that leg. You're going to inhale, lift, and lower to hover for 10, 9, 8. So keep going. If you look back, your toes should be in the same line as your hip. 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep it lifted. Flex your foot. Find little circles. So it's a very small circle that you're tracing with your heel, just like a little pulsation more than anything. And go ahead and reverse the direction of those circles. Try to relax that supporting right hip. And should feel pretty good. Let's release into our reclined pigeon pose. Cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh and go ahead and pull that thigh in towards you. So no more strengthening required. At this point in our practice, we're starting to slow things down. Relax your shoulders. Give that leg one last little squeeze. And set your right foot flat to the floor. IT band stretch. Let your right thigh drop. Left foot drops. Reach out through your left arm. And you might use your right hand to push slightly into that knee and thigh. And let's release, coming back through to center. And go ahead and bring your knees in towards you. We'll find our happy baby pose again. And you might stay in happy baby if you'd like. You can also straighten your legs. Any variation of this pose that feels the best to you at this time. Bending into your knees if the legs were straight, and go ahead and release Shavasana, our final resting pose. Legs outstretched in front of you, palms facing up to the sky. Let yourself surrender. And you might come back to that visualization of the glowing orange jewel, connecting to the sacral chakra. My creative potential is endless. Begin to breathe a little deeper, reawakening, re-energizing with some little movements. Reach out long through your arms from fingertips to toes. And we'll roll to one side, pressing up. Coming to take a seat. And join your hands at your heart. Connecting one last time to this energetic center. Feeling the effects of your practice physically, mentally, emotionally. And we'll close with the chant of Om one time. We inhale to chant, big breath in. Namaste. Thank you so much for doing this sacral chakra yoga practice with me. I would love to know what came up for you, how it went. Any feedback is always appreciated. And if you'd like to stay a little bit longer and keep working with the energy of the chakras, I would recommend this meditation right here. If you're new to my channel, please do subscribe. I put out multiple videos every single week, and I would love to practice with you again. Namaste.